Let's now shift our attention over to Macau, where Chinese President Xi Jinping is on his 3-day visit to the gambling hub. The semi-controlled region is celebrating the 20th anniversary of its handover to China. Xi was seen toasting to the renewal of the Chinese nation and praised the region for choosing unity and negotiation over contention. Xi's visit to the former Portuguese colony, where he announced a slew of supportive policies, is widely seen as a reward for Macau's stability and loyalty towards the mainland.
澳门前途命运同祖国紧密相连，秉持强烈的国家观念和爱国情怀，将爱国和爱澳合而为一。
The former Portuguese colony, Macau, has long been seen as a glimmering showcase for the virtues of obeying Beijing. Macau's skyline and economy have changed beyond recognition since Portuguese rule ended in the year 1999. The region has become the world's largest gambling hub over the past few decades, surpassing its more rebellious brother Hong Kong along the way. The jubilation in Macau is in stark contrast to the mood just 50 kilometers away in Hong Kong. It is being said that in his speech, Xi Jinping deliberately attempted to send a clear message to the protest-stricken financial hub. He said that the autonomous regions should adhere to the administrative system along with the chief executive. This is to promote democracy and reject all sorts of disturbances from the outside. Listen in.
以行政长官为核心的行政主导体制，这个体制好就好在既能有效发扬民主，又能避免内耗。行政、立法、司法机构 既各司其职，又相互协同。
The Chinese president is expected to attend the swearing-in of Macau's newly chosen Beijing-backed leader, Ho Yat-seng, today. Macau returned to Chinese rule in the year 1999 with the same one country, two systems formula aimed at preserving autonomy under which Hong Kong is governed. Protests are very rare in Macau, with more than half of the population immigrating from China in recent decades. On the other hand, Hong Kong has been up in arms for 7 months. Protests that have turned gruesomely violent over the months show no signs of abating. Thousands of protesters continue to pour into the streets. Police, majorly backed by China, has fired tear gas, used water cannons and stun guns on the protesters. Let's get all the details straight from the horse's mouth as I'm joined in by our correspondent Grace Lee, who's joining us live on this broadcast from Macau. Grace, a very good morning to you. I'll come to the big picture, but to begin with, do take our viewers through this occasion and its cultural and historical relevance for China and Macau.
Yeah, Xi Jinping has been here since Wednesday, and he's had heaps of praise for Macau since arriving here. And a lot of analysts are taking his praise for Macau as a silent disapproval for nearby Hong Kong, where, as you said, we've seen about 7 months of protests. There are no signs of any protests here in Macau because most requests for demonstrations are quashed before they can even begin here. And there's a lot more loyalty towards Beijing because, 50% of the population here has migrated from the mainland, and of course its economy is closely linked to Beijing as well, with 80% of its tourism coming from mainland China. So there's really no reason for them to be opposed to Beijing at this point.
It's interesting, Grace, that you mentioned Xi Jinping heaping praises on Macau. What's important to understand is that Xi Jinping's visit to Macau and his praises for the former Portuguese colony has deep implications for Hong Kong. Do break it down for us.
Yes, of course. So, repeatedly, Xi Jinping has said that Macau is kind of a shining example for the one country, two systems rule, which is the same rule that Hong Kong is governed under as well. And by him saying that, he's trying to implicate that it's not the system that's the problem. It's Hong Kong and its protesters that's causing the trouble in Hong Kong. And he's pointed multiple times to how stable Macau's economy is. And he's especially praised Macau's education system, saying that beginning loyalty towards Beijing and Macau at an early age is the exact reason why we're seeing Macau flourish as a gambling hub. And he's expected to announce measures today to try and make Macau more than just a gambling center,
right,
but an international financial center as well.
All right. So speaking of Macau and Hong Kong, they both fall under the one country, two systems. But how stark is the contrast between Macau and Hong Kong, especially when it comes to their proximity with China, the level of autonomy and the role of judiciary?
Yes, of course. Well, Macau is much smaller than Hong Kong, and you won't see the kind of, pride that Hong Kongers have of being Hong Kongers. It's a very different system here, and of course, Macau passed national security laws years ago, the same kind of laws that created uproar in Hong Kong. So they're a lot more compliant towards Chinese rule here. And the significance of the handover is quite different as well. Macau only really flourished after the handover, with its GDP soaring after China made this the only kind of area in China where you can gamble. So its economy and its tourism really, as I said, heavily relies on mainland China. So that's kind of a tie that really brings them a lot closer to Beijing than Hong Kong.
All right. So just ahead of the anniversary celebrations in Macau, let's see how that pans out, because we are also being told that Carrie Lam is also going to be present over there. With that, thank you so much, Grace, for bringing us all those details and joining us on this live.